Trick Room, I was using when I was streaming with Wolf. We had a heat train. We had Substitute on it. Does that belong on this team at all? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, if anything, right now the team is probably a bit more defensive than most Trick Room teams, which is perfectly fine. But one thing you should know about Trick Room teams, especially in VGC, is you want to take advantage of the Trick Room turns, right? So that's why a lot of the teams that are Trick Room, they rely on these really, really heavy hitters that like take advantage of it fully. So that's why, you use full offensive attacks like Flash Cannon. I know a lot of players like as that fourth move on Heatran to hit Sylveons and Fairy types in general, which would make sense here. And so by using Substitute, it's a fantastic move, gives you a lot of momentum. And it makes sense on Heatran because, you could imagine setting up a Substitute on your last turn of Trick Room, and then even after Trick Room expires, you still have that sub to protect you. So I think it's perfectly viable to use either Substitute, or in my opinion, I'd probably use Flash Cannon for that last move, just because both of them work pretty well.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense to explain. Like, you don't want to. It's almost not that it's a setback because you do gain advantage if you set up that sub on the last turn, but then even not so because you're moving faster under Trick Room, and then your opponent is most likely going to outspeed you the following turn. So I agree where it makes more sense. Like I can outspeed the Sylveon now and I can smack him with a Flash Cannon.
Right.
It makes a lot of sense. So like you said, simple EV spreads. I'm assuming we'll go max HP, max special attack with a quiet nature. I think looks good because because that's the other thing I was going to say. Substitute I really probably would only prefer in Heatran if he was holding leftovers.
Yeah.
Because then it makes a lot more sense. It doesn't make too much sense in my mind to run the safety goggles and Substitute because Substitute really will go ahead and avoid the Spore anyway.
Right.
So, but with this, we're going to end up using this Heatran as more of an offensive presence, I guess. Even though it does have obviously the natural bulk, but the max special attack, if you look at that stat, that's actually really nice. I guess we'll put the extra 4. We could just put the extra 4 in defense. I don't think it matters too much.
Yeah.
Sure. It'll make it there. 252 in there. Okay, that makes a difference. Okay, so we have Gardevoir, Jealous, and Heatran. As you guys can see, building a VGC team in a professional manner is much more in-depth. Maybe I'm sure Aaron could build this team a lot faster if he wasn't explaining everything and just going through his own thoughts and not talking to an idiot who doesn't know much about VGC. But I really appreciate this. So, okay, we have Mega Gardevoir, Jealous, and Heatran, something that pairs well with those.
Yeah, I think the first thing that jumps out to my mind is now, okay, we have all these Pokemon, but how do we actually successfully set up Trick Room? Because right now we don't have redirection or fake out or anything like that.
Yep.
And then another thing that jumps out to me is, oh wow, we're pretty weak to Earthquake in general. I think Ground Immunity and Earthquake especially is, such a common move, especially on Lander STs. So I think for any VGC team, if you look at all the popular teams that have done well successfully, they're almost always, I can pretty much guarantee that every successful team has at least one Ground Immunity, if not 2, maybe sometimes even 3.
Yeah.
So I think, Lander's T typically fills that role, and it does work well in Trick Room. We could consider it. At the same time,